Well, what a great scrap, as expected, between the two Mercedes drivers for pole position here today. We got them side by side, as always, and yeah, let's kick things off into turn one. I'll just slow it down for you because it comes at you pretty quickly. You see that Rosberg just pitches the car in, gets the car to the apex slightly nicer than Lewis, who runs a bit wide on the exit. I'll just roll that back so you can see Lewis is actually getting onto the AstroTurf there. And normally you would expect to lose a bit of time in that situation, but as we roll it on and try and stop it under the first shadow that we come to as a reference, and you'll see that it's actually Lewis in front. So yeah, there we go. He gets to that shadow before Rosberg on the left-hand side. Now into turn two, tricky braking zone into there. Now we know that Rosberg's carrying a bit more fuel in the car than his teammate. These kind of corners really hurt you. So on the exit, we see that on stopping on the DRS line. Look at that for timing. Hey, I aced it. Lewis gets it onto the line before Rosberg. Now remember this this reference between these two, because the next one I'm going to stop it at is the hairpin on the exit. So we just heard from Lewis saying he didn't lose time by that lock-up, so keep watching the right-hand side of your screen. The inside front wheel locks up. There we go. And can't quite make it to the apex, whereas Rosberg does. And if I stop it on the next shadow, oh, I messed it up that time, didn't I? Not very good in qualifying myself. You can see that the gap has, I think, come down slightly. Come on, screen, do your thing. Right, yeah, look, so I don't know about you guys, but I think that gap's come down. So I do think that Lewis lost a bit of time in that lockup. On the run-up towards turn 9 now, both flat out through the kink before it. And this is where Rosberg really makes time. Now watch their two steering wheels. Hamilton has a big flick there, and Rosberg doesn't. I'll just wind that back, because I had a couple of looks at this already, and it's quite hard when they're side by side. Again in slow-mo. Just watch for Lewis. And there it is. Just as he selects gear going up, he just lets the back kick out. It steps out on him. And on the exit of this one, it's now pretty much neck and neck, or actually advantage Rosberg. So you can really see how Rosberg carried that speed around that tricky sector 2. Both drivers pretty on it through turn 12 and into turn 13. Rosberg just gets on the exit, on the power a bit too early, and now he's the one that steps out and goes a bit on the curb, whereas Lewis doesn't, and that allows Lewis to catch up just a bit. I'll try and stop it at this surface change as the next reference for you to see how Lewis has caught the gap slightly there. So you can see the gap's just come down a bit, and he's working on it all the way through that final corner. And both drivers getting on the power again. Pretty similar line around the exit there. And that is what just under a tenth of a second looks like between the two. So I expect the fight will continue for tomorrow.